This session is being presented by Damon Swenson, Brand Activation Manager at Dr. Pepper, and Erica Davis, Senior Account Director at We Are Alexander. And with that, Damon, we'll let you kick it off.
Thank you, Patty. It's a pleasure to spend time with you all today. Eric and I plan to take you guys through kind of the development of this program, the insights that drove it, the development of the creative, and finally, and most importantly, the execution and the results that went into Pick Your Pepper. So like any great program, you want to start with the foundation of an objective. And so back a couple years ago, we had the objective that we wanted to move our 20-ounce business, which we call our single serve, and we wanted to do it in a unique, engaging way and really get after our key millennial target at the convenience channel. So working with our insights teams, we developed some great insights about the convenience channel, knowing that one of the largest consumer bases at convenience are millennials. And what's unique about them is when they're at the C-store, at convenience, they're purchasing two things, gas, but first and foremost, they're buying beverages, and they have the control here to buy beverages. At large format, at grocery stores, at Walmarts and Targets of the world, they may not be the shopper, but here they control what they're consuming, and we wanted to take full advantage of that. So what we know about millennials, which you all know about millennials, 18 to 34, a large consumer base of over 70 million, and it's a very diverse generation. And what we know about convenience is it's not new news. Everyone knows to target millennials here, so you're trying to come up with some fantastic pieces to capture their attention. From insights that we have, we know that 40% of convenience shoppers don't know what they're going to buy when they walk into a C-store. So we want to make sure we have something that captures their attention and really engages with the millennial group. And about that passion, this isn't something that this is appealing from a visual standpoint. This is something that is connective tissue to these millennials. It's something they're very passionate about. And we're not talking just about passion, but we're talking about something that is extremely relevant to them, something that becomes a badge of honor for them, something that they express themselves with in their daily wares and when they're with their closest group of friends and really allowing themselves to be their most authentic person and the freedom to let loose. Those are all consumer insights we've had, and we all applied those to this particular program. So the challenge, with this very diverse generation, they have all different passion points, and how do we kind of pull them all together in a very important time for soft drinks, that summer season? It's very important and it's very competitive. So how can Dr. Pepper develop a program to encompass all of this and solve this riddle? The way we approached it was by giving our consumers the power to choose. And before I turn it over to Erica, I just want to say what was really critical about this program are having these strong insights as the foundation. Having a key objective about going after our 20-ounce business at convenience. And what's also critical is having a tight brief for our creative agency and a great working collaboration with that creative partner, and finally trusting our creative partner to go take us places that might make us uncomfortable and might ask us to think about our branding and think about what we're willing to do. And We Alexander did that for us with this program, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Erica.
Thank you, Damon. So we are introducing here Pick Your Pepper. So why Pick Your Pepper? And before we get into the creative development, how we really approach this, I wanted to go back a little bit and talk about how we got to Pick Your Pepper as a platform idea. So we know that millennials, they don't really respond very well to advertising. So one of the things that we needed to make sure that we did was be truly authentic to everything that they believe in, their passions and whatnot. And when we started thinking about, well, what does that mean? How do we do that? We looked at other authentic brands, and we wanted to see what were some common traits that we saw and how they approached this. So there was 9 different traits that kind of rose to the top here: honesty, integrity, transparency, consistency, vision, individuality, expertise, passion, empathy. So it was really interesting because out of all of these, there was 2 that really rose to the top for us. One of them was individuality and uniqueness, primarily because this is a core trait that is baked into the culture of Dr. Pepper as a brand. It's something they have stood for many, many years, being always one of a kind. We're not a typical cola. We're a unique flavor profile. So we thought, there's something there that we could really use. The second is passion. Passion, if you think about what people are passionate about, a lot of times with these millennials are really passionate about their uniqueness and their individuality, and they celebrate that. So we're thinking this is something that we could really use as a sounding board, as kind of to launch into this Pick Your Pepper program. So that kind of took us to personalization marketing. We were thinking, Damon just mentioned how diverse this group is. So the biggest challenge for us is their interests are going to be equally diverse. How do we connect? How do we have a program that's going to hit all these different passions and reach this hugely, widely diverse group? So the benefit of us really tapping into personalization as an execution was not only going to provide a deeper impact and connection with our millennials, it's going to be a deeper connection that's going to resonate with them on a whole nother emotional level. So what we did as the agency is we wanted to start identifying what these passion points could look like. So we started and identified hundreds of archetypes. And when we say archetype, what this could be, it could represent an interest, it could be a pastime, a hobby, or a passion. It's something that's going to highly resonate with this millennial group. There's also going to be some challenges that we face when we start thinking about archetypes because as a brand, Dr. Pepper might not have trademarks that we can leverage. So if you think about it, a millennial might be super passionate about the NFL. Well, I can't use any marks there that could help communicate and bridge that and make that very clear for them. So that's something that's just a watch out when we started thinking through this that we're going to be mindful of. And Damon gave us a challenge of making sure that every label is unique and different from the others. We also know that being in C-Store, we have to communicate what we're selling. Dr. Pepper, regular flavor. It's not a formulation change. There's nothing new in terms of that from a flavor profile. So this is a lot to consider. I mean, I feel like our guardrails are just getting bigger and bigger here. And as Damon also alluded, this is an incredibly competitive landscape. This is just an image here of one of the convenience stores that we face on a day-to-day basis. I think most people see and know that there's a lot of options out there. So how are we going to stand out amongst all of this during summer and really help move our 20-ounce product? So the creative output. Each archetype that we designed or we developed had a corresponding label that really fully embraced the passion and essence behind that archetype. So this is a sampling of some of the labels that we designed. And, we wanted to make sure that while we call them archetype internally, there's no labels on these labels. We did not want to put that on the label because we wanted our millennials to self-identify and take away what they felt that label embodied. So that was something that was really important to us as well. So I pulled a couple of archetypes that we designed just so you could see how we started the creative development with this. K-pop was the first one here. This is Korean pop music, very popular. And when we start thinking about the design of the label, we were pulling kind of inspiration for our creative team to see how they could leverage some of the look and feel that people typically associate with this type of music genre. So you can see even the logo. I mean, this is the thing that made probably the brand team a little uncomfortable, but even our logo was different. Because we said if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. We want to make sure this is going back to authenticity. We're fully embracing what this means. The next one is Metalhead. Again, you can see we did these are full takeovers. It's here with the Dr. Pepper, and we wanted to make sure that this clearly communicated that type of music. Cats. Who doesn't love cats? Cats have quite a following. And so this was another label that we did. I mean, we had, again, these are just a sample of some of them. Even yarn bombing. Who knew that was a thing? It's a thing. And we wanted to make sure that this is a relevant thing that's happening right now with millennials, where they're going and beautifying their local parks. It could even be their mailbox. And they're they're wrapping yarn around it just to, put their little personality on these items. So you can see it's not just music. We wanted to make sure that we had a plethora of different options for these consumers to really take away and self-identify with. So before we went too farther into this, we wanted to just make sure we get a quick gut check and make sure this is going to be really relevant for the millennials. So the Dr. Pepper team did an omnibus study to make sure that this was going to really be well received, and the numbers came back pretty resounding. We were pretty pleased with this. 96% of heavy Dr. Pepper drinkers said they definitely or probably would purchase these products. 60% said they would buy this in addition to another CSD. 59% said they'd probably buy it more frequently. And we needed to make sure that it was clear that we did not change our product. So 91% of them said that they understood this was not a formulation change. So we continued. And again, this is just a sample of some of the labels we designed. And I know that they're kind of small here, but we wanted to just show the breadth. I mean, there's several. There's a couple of pages in here. So from a messaging standpoint, this is some of the in-store signage that we used to communicate the program. And some of the important things to note, we needed to show the breadth. We needed to show how there's an infinite number of labels available for these millennials to really pick and connect with. And so this was why we did that. We also had it in Spanish language because, as Damon stated earlier, 19% of this generation is Hispanic. So in those high Hispanic areas, we wanted to make sure that we had language-appropriate pieces that would also connect with them. We had labels that that were more Hispanic relevant. I mean, we had Loteria, the Luchador. We had several. So we had to make sure we were inclusive of everybody. No one should be left out with this. So the big key thing for us, these were designed by millennials with our agency, were viewed by millennials, and ultimately approved by millennials. And so we feel like this was, we were really trying our best, 100%, to make sure that we stayed true to the authenticity. And, by having millennials be involved in the entire process, we felt like we were going to really set ourselves up correctly. So I will let Damon talk through how the activation support was built for Pick Your Pepper as well.
Thank you, Erica. So now we have these outstanding labels. We have this innovative digital printing process that had never been done in the United States to run these bottles in a very unique way so that no case of Dr. Pepper is the same, so that when consumers go to retail and they see these labels, they're going to see, as Erica put it, as we like to talk about, an infinite amount. It feels like no two bottles are the same. There's not duplicates on the shelf. But these go beyond bottles, so we need to make sure we had in-store pieces to help bring this program to life, to show the breadth of these designs. So we put innovative rounders, innovative stackers, showing that key visual that Erica showed us, but it also shows a way that consumers, it can catch their eye, they can see that something's different, and now they go and explore and interact with these, what we call stackers and rounders, and see the breadth of the labels and start looking for something for them or for others. Another way to drive awareness for this program is through our media, and one of the great media tools that we had in our toolkit for this was our out-of-home. And again, as you see, our out-of-home showed just a few examples of the diverse collection and designs of the Pick Your Pepper labels. And then, of course, we had to have some fun with this with our consumers, and we have a very avid consumer base for Dr. Pepper. And what we wanted to do is reward those that were really engaged with the program and came up with different ways to connect with them. But what better way to really show your interest and show your passion than to give you a Pick Your Pepper t-shirt for a design that you are passionate about. And here's just a few of our consumers posting on Instagram some of their favorite apparel that they received from Dr. Pepper. So we had what we call full 360-degree support. We had digital and social really driving awareness for this program, targeting millennials where they're consuming media. We had the innovative packaging. We had the unique designs. We had an execution with our fountain food service, and I showed you the merchandising to help bring this program to life in retail. So let's dive into the results. So really this was grounded in insights and built around two key pillars. One was that consumer engagement, that connection with millennials. And two was to increase volume of our 20-ounce regular Dr. Pepper, velocity, and increase display activity in a very competitive time frame. So through social media, we tracked all summer long, and we saw some great organic conversation coming back from consumers. It's something that they were really resonated with, and we noted that they were, not only buying for themselves, but they were sharing. And coming out of it, all these fantastic designs, 10 kind of rose to the top. And we like to say in the office, the unicorn label was in fact the unicorn label. It was the most sought after of all labels that we had for Pick Your Pepper. Then if you look at the top 10, there's a very diverse list there. You've got princess, but then you're followed by metalhead and K-pop and knitting and cats, and you see Mrs. There was a great connection during the summertime for wedding season with Mr. and Mrs. labels that were used to help celebrate those occasions. Also just off of this list were dad, because during the summertime it's Father's Day, and we also had mom included, and there was a lot of buying for your parents and sharing, or if somebody was going to be a dad or a mom through a birth or an adoption, they were using those, and we saw those all played back to us, and it was this really strong connection. So we're really excited about what we saw. So to that end, it was really organic what was coming back to us. We saw a huge social conversation with hashtag Pick Your Pepper and hashtag Dr. Pepper. We talk a lot in Dr. Pepper and with Alexander that this program was built for Instagram. You just see some fantastic images. The unicorn label was shared the most. Of course it was. Everyone wanted that unicorn label. And we were really excited about the conversation that consumers really engaged with us on this. So we were feeling really good about it. And I have some examples just to share with you kind of what we heard consumers say. Here you see a gentleman say, seems this Dr. Pepper was made for me. You see as a label that reflects his tattoo. We've got a young lady who said, found the coolest Dr. Pepper bottle today, leopard print and vinyl, my two fave things. Then we saw more people look to collect. And you saw someone wanting to really, collect the pink, and then all of a sudden, of course, it turned into I can't find the unicorn, and of course, it turned into a unicorn conversation. And then there's more collectability, as you see here from these different people collecting. These two young men said they found all 44. There's hundreds of labels out there, but in their world, they only found 44. I would just have loved to see their face when they went to the store the next time and saw a whole new set of 44 to go to collect. And that's where you saw here at the end, too. Somebody cut the labels off the bottle and has kept them. And then the two gentlemen there, they actually framed the labels off the bottle, which is just incredible. And so here's just some more consumer-generated content. As I mentioned, you've got the wedding season, so you got the Mr. and Mrs. labels. You've got dog lovers pictured with their dog, the leopard print with their shoes. You just see this really great connection with millennials and how strong it was. And it was all about them able to pick the ones that meant something to them. And then you've got attracting new consumers. And this is something that we were hopeful of, but we did not plan for, with soft drinks and having people come back to the category. And here you just see a couple examples of, it's been 2 months since I've had a soda, but Dr. Pepper has these new bottles with all these different designs. Or you've got this other gentleman saying, when you don't drink soda, but the packaging makes you buy anyway. That's just a great connection to our consumer base. And finally, you can put a price on brand love. If your packaging shows up on eBay, you know you're on to something. At Dr. Pepper, we have a rich history in doing collectible cans with different movie partnerships, but this is the first time we've ever seen our 20-ounce bottles show up on eBay. And I know I keep talking about the unicorn, but here, again, the unicorn dominated, selling for almost $20 on eBay. And that's phenomenal and outstanding. So we were really excited to see, again, consumers looking to share with each other and try to collect all the different labels that they could possibly get their hands on. So when it comes to a business perspective, so we feel like we had that strong consumer engagement. I just showed you a few of the many examples that we have for Pick Your Pepper with the consumers. But when it comes to business, we had strong retail presence. We had a lot of convenience partners really get behind this program. It was new. It was different. It was built in insights. It really connected to their shopper, and they wanted to get behind this program. So they gave us that ambient display. They gave us incremental signage and display activity. But as you see on that list, it's extended beyond just convenience stores. We saw a great excitement from the Walmart and Targets of the world. Dollar General rallied around this program. So it was something that retailers really got behind because they could see that it was going to be a great connection to their shoppers and to this coveted millennial generation. So when you get down to brass tacks, we saw an increase to 4%, which is actually a really big deal when you talk about the summer selling season and you're talking about the sheer size and magnitude of 20-ounce business. That was a big deal. What was equally a big deal is that our promotion, Pick Your Pepper, outperformed our competition during this competitive summer season, and they've both had their own innovative 20-ounce programs at this time, and Dr. Pepper really was the one that drove the activation and the connection with the consumer. So as we wrap up, the results. Pick Your Pepper gave it millennials an engaging experience about things that not only they were passionate about, but things that they could see that their spouse, their friends, or their family were passionate about, and there was the shareability aspect. We didn't force it upon them. It was something we just would hope happened organically, and it did. Coworkers were buying bottles for other coworkers and leaving them on their desk because they knew they were passionate about fashion or they were passionate about different types of music, and they were posting about it and the love that they had for their coworker for thinking of them. And it's all about something that these millennials are passionate about, are interested in, and it's relevant to their world. And to that end, I said we were really mindful that we didn't want to be really overt. The program is called Pick Your Pepper, and we just left it there. We didn't say buy one. We didn't say collect them all. We didn't say share with your friends. We wanted it to be a journey for the consumer to go up and interact with the display, interact with the labels, find one for them, find one for others if they wanted to, share it out. Don't just buy one. Buy as many that mean something to you. And what was great about the way we did the printing, and when you looked at it, like I said, there were no duplicates. So if you liked a couple of them, there was a sense of urgency that you might not ever see these again or find these again. So we really liked that component of the program, and that was really played back to us from millennials, that it gave them the freedom to come and engage with Dr. Pepper in a not a we're telling them what to do kind of way. It's just, come explore, and if it's relevant to you, interact. And we saw that through the numbers from, again, the consumer engagement as well as the sales results. So we thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us today, and hope you found this helpful as we all look to engage with millennials. And with that, I would like to turn it back to Patty.
Thank you, Damon, and thank you, Erica, for sharing your insights and experiences from the award-winning Pick Your Pepper campaign. By the way, this campaign was a 2017 Pro Award winner, and a case study can be found in the Resource Center. Now, we do have some questions, so we're going to jump right into a few of those. The first one is for Damon. Was there any concern about losing the brand equity with the package designs?
Yes. Yes, there was. It is something that We Are Alexander approached us about, that Erica and her team came and talked to us about. And the way we kind of got through that was Dr. Pepper has been around for a really long time, over 130 years. And so with that, we have a lot of different logos. And so what we did was we went back to our historical logos from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and kind of used those logos to kind of be kind of our templates to say, use these, don't deviate too far outside of these, but have, the ability to sort of just create from there. So that way we had a little bit of consistency, but it wasn't like locking in the current logo has to be as constructed right here at this spot. We gave them the freedom to kind of play a little around with it within the kind of sandbox of giving them, a handful of logos that they could leverage that would make the most sense for whatever the designer wanted to explore for those particular archetypes.
Okay. And we have another question. This one's for Erica. What was the biggest challenge from the agency perspective?
I would say, just to be cautious, we had to really be mindful about archetypes versus stereotyping, because millennials often feel that brands have them all figured out and we're going to put them in a category. And I think that was the thing that we were just very cautious and concerned about when we started this exploration. So it's a fine line going between those two. So I think that was our biggest challenge, honestly, is just making sure we don't come across offensive, and well, we know you like this, and this is what you're going to do. And so I think, honestly, by having the vast options out there was our way of working around it. If we only came out with 10 labels, I don't think we could have pulled this off as successfully as we did. So.
Okay. And here's another one for Damon. Was it a challenge to sell this idea into senior management?
Not as big of a challenge as I anticipated, and the reason that it wasn't is that, again, we started with such strong insights, and we collaborated with Will Alexander, and we came up with a game plan, and it was something that we could demonstrate that this was really going to be something that we could tap into, and it had never been done before. And again, we're talking about soft drinks, so it's very competitive during a very competitive season. So we had some new news with something that stood above and out from the crowd. And again, it really was anchored in those insights about the channel we were focused on and the consumer group we were focused on, the millennials. And we had this really engaging approach. And again, as I mentioned, we did have a few guardrails in there with the use of the different logos, and that gave them more comfort. But as we got the designs, and I definitely sat with senior leadership and had to remind them quite often, these are not for you. These are for millennials or younger consumer base. These are what they're interested in. And that was something that they had to really trust us, as we trusted Will Alexander, that these were going to resonate with those consumers, and they're not just what we kind of stereotypically think they should be.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and whoever would like to answer it, or if you both want to jump in. What about the consumers? Was there any other concerns about confusion in store among consumers?
Yes, that was a great question. We did have to address that, and that is part of the reason why we focused on regular only. So we have different flavors. We have regular Dr. Pepper, Diet Cherry, and Diet Cherry, as well as a few others. And what we wanted to ensure is that we did not want to limit what we could do on each bottle. We wanted to have this open creative spectrum for the program. So what we did was we left all the other flavors alone. So if you were looking for a Diet Dr. Pepper, it was right there on the shelf where it always is for you, and it looked exactly like it's supposed to. So we only manipulated the regular Dr. Pepper 20 ounce, and that gave us the creative freedom to do as much as we wanted. And then if you saw in the creative, through the key visual that Erica showed and some of the pieces I had, the regular Dr. Pepper 20-ounce bottle anchored all the creative. So consumers could see it's regular Dr. Pepper, and what's happening is that, it's just, new creative designs. There's nothing about new flavor. In fact, we said, one delicious taste or same delicious taste in certain pieces. So we kind of reinforced that where we could. But we were very mindful of that because we definitely did not want to have consumers confused of, are they buying a diet? Are they buying a regular? Is this a different flavor? And so there's some of those things. So we addressed that, and we worked with Will Alexander all through that process, so we were really mindful about how some of these designs came to life.
Okay, well, it's an exciting and fun campaign, but I'm afraid we've run out of time. And again, I wanted to thank Erica and Damon for joining us at Marketing to Millennials 2017 and sharing their experiences with this impressive case study. We'd also like to thank all the attendees throughout the day. We hope you took away a lot of great tips and ideas from Marketing to Millennials 2017. And thank you again to Infinity Marketing Team for making today's event possible. All of the sessions will be available for viewing, so if you did miss one, come on back to check it out. And best of luck to all of you with your own Marketing to Millennials. Have a great day.